point?
If he's not here when we start, I'll just cover his segment.
Okay.
One thing we talked about before everybody got online here is that when we go live on YouTube, you should mute your mic unless you're speaking, and you might even want to stop your video because that cuts down on the bandwidth that we gobble up.
Okay, there's a time delay, but we should be live on YouTube here, and let's see, what time is it? I'll give it a few more minutes before I start the recording. But
I'll let you know when it starts.
okay. It says we're live on YouTube now.
Not yet.
Yeah, I think there's a 20-second delay or something like that.
What I missed?
Not anything significant. We're live on YouTube now, Richard, just so you know. I'm going to start the recording here in a couple minutes.
You're not live yet.
I got it.
There you go.
Okay. Susan says we're live on YouTube now.
And the one is watching, that'd be me.
Live on YouTube, and everybody stopped talking.
It,
You know, I don't see Jonathan Viod here.
No, not yet.
Well, I'd hate to introduce him and he's not there.
Right. Yeah, if he's not here, just kind of wing that. If whoever shows up that you think needs to be introduced, whatever. There's Ken coming in.
I'll take his time, John.
There you go.
Yeah, I bet you will, Dale. We don't, do we or don't we expect Mark Meckler?
He was on the invitation list, but I didn't hear anything from him, so I do not expect him.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Dale, I'll let you, you call the shot when you want to start. I don't know whether, I was going to start promptly at 7, but I don't know whether you want to wait a little bit or what, so.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Rick, started at 7.
Okay.
Let's do a good one, guys. Let's do a good one. And gals. Rick, are you going to do a screen share here?
Yes.
Okay.
oh.
All right, here we go.
Hello and welcome to a brand new series from COS Indiana called Roundtable. Once each quarter on the last Sunday evening of the month at 7 p.m., through education and discussion, we will tackle the topics and challenges we face as we use the Constitution to save the Constitution. Join us now as we bring you COS Indiana Roundtable.
Thanks, Maria, and welcome everyone to our first quarterly COS Indiana Roundtable. I'm your host, John Ackerman. Welcome to our leadership members in a Zoom meeting and to our COS members and others watching through our COS Indiana YouTube live stream. Here's a brief description of the program. First will be 20 minutes led by Paul Phillips, our Indiana legislative liaison, and his team, discussing 3 bills before the Indiana legislature. Then there will be a second 20-minute segment led by Richard Locan, our Education Committee Chair in Indiana. After each segment, we will take a few questions and comments if time allows. Those of you on YouTube can submit questions and comments via the live chat. Please do so. First, I want to introduce our COS Indiana State Director, Dale Parish. Dale, would you like to say a few words?
I always like to say a few words, John. Thank you very much. I want to welcome everyone to our first Convention of States virtual roundtable meeting. And I want to thank all the individuals that have worked so hard to make this event possible. And most of all, I want to thank those of you that are viewing this evening, because this is directed to you. And if you're not a supporter of Convention of States, we want you to get involved. And hopefully those of you that have tuned in this evening will be moved to join us. If you are interested, please stay tuned, because we're going to tell you how to get involved here in Convention of States of Indiana. For now, though, please, I hope you enjoy the meeting. Thank you very much, John.
You're welcome, Dale, and thanks for your words of greeting. For our first 20 minutes, I'm happy to introduce Paul Phillips. He is the COS Indiana Legislative Liaison. Paul and his team are very active in monitoring and advocating for or against bills coming before the Indiana legislature. Paul, the floor is yours for the next 20 minutes.
All right. Thank you very much, John. First of all, I'd like to explain that as far as the Convention of States goes, one of the first things a legislative team will focus on is passing the application for the Article 5 convention. And I'm happy to say in Indiana, that has already been completed. We passed that resolution in 2016. But that does not mean that the legislative team is hibernating, if you will, until the next issue comes up. We are very active in the state legislature. We like to focus on issues related to self-governance. And there happen to be 3 bills in this session that we are actively supporting. So when we support a bill, that means that we will get engaged with the legislators who are authoring or sponsoring the bill. We'll meet with them, give them our feedback, but we'll also get active in supporting the bills, doing things like testifying at committee meetings in favor of the bill. And we also issue what we call a call to action to our grassroots to contact their legislators or the governor in support of those bills. So in general, those are the kind of things that we do. And we have 3 bills that we're supporting, as I said, and I have 2 other members of our legislative team online tonight, Melba Kaiser and Marty Wood. And in a moment, I'm going to have them each talk about the bills that they are individually championing. And we have a 3rd bill, which is being championed by David Waters. And David isn't able to be here tonight, so you're going to get number 2 on the list. I'm going to fill in for David and talk a little bit about the bill that he's been shepherding through the legislature. And that is House Bill 1123, which addresses some emergency order issues. It's probably not a surprise that that's a hot topic in the legislature this year. And what the bill, at least in its current form, does is, in its simplest form, it provides a method for the legislature to get engaged when the governor declares an emergency. The current emergency orders that we're under were declared roughly about a year ago, and the legislature has been out of session since then and hasn't had significant input or involvement in the emergency action. So this bill would set some triggers to call the legislature into session for the specific purpose of addressing the state of emergency orders and nothing else. And it's a way for us as citizens to have a voice in what's going on with an emergency order. So we're very excited about supporting this bill. It has already passed the House. It has passed through a Senate committee. And in fact, tomorrow it will be on 3rd reading in the Senate, which is the point at which the senators actually vote on the bill. We're expecting passage there. And after that, it will head back to the House for approval of some of the amendments that the Senate made. And then after that, on to the governor. And we plan on a call to action to the governor's office. So be looking for emails from us to get you involved with contacting the governor and asking him to support the bill. If he does not and happens to veto the bill, we are prepared to do a couple more call to actions to ask our senators and representatives to override that veto. So this is a bill that there's quite a bit of activity on, and we're looking forward to getting that passed this session. So that's a summary on House Bill 1123. I'd like to now turn it over to Melba Kaiser, and Melba will talk about the bill that she has been championing in the legislature. Go ahead, Melba.
Thank you, Paul. So I will be speaking tonight about House Bill 1384, Civics Education. This bill was authored by Representative Anthony Cook, who is a former teacher and a school superintendent. According to Representative Cook, the legislation came out of a civics education task force that he was a member of. And this task force was responsible for specific actionable recommendations based on research that was done around the country and in the states. So this bill requires that the Board of Education, in coordination with the Department of Education, establishes standards for civics education. It also establishes the Indiana Civic Education Commission. This commission will have 15 people as members. The members will be appointed by various people to also include leaders in both the House and the Senate, as well as appointees coming from a nonprofit organization with expertise in urban youth, and the Indiana State Bar, the Chief Justice of Indiana, and the Secretary of State. The effective date for this commission is July 1 of this year, 2021. It provides that the civics education standards are to be in effect by next year, July 2, 2022. And those standards can only be changed with the express authorization of the General Assembly. It's going to require that each student, beginning with the students entering 6th grade in the school years of 2023 and 2024, it will require that they successfully complete one semester of a civics education course in grades 6, 7, or 8. Now, Wikipedia defines civics as the study of the rights and obligations of citizens in society. The testimony that was given in the Senate chamber showed that there was a consensus among those testifying in understanding that a large number of our population, of our youth, don't have a knowledge of their government makeup. And a majority of our youth lack knowledge about how the government works, whether that's at the state level or the federal level. So the testimony was overwhelmingly in support of the need for a civics education so that our future generations can be engaged and contribute to improve society. Now, House Bill 1384 has passed the House. It passed the Senate with an amendment, so it returned back to the House to have them approve the Senate amendments. The bill is currently waiting to be submitted to the governor for his signature, and Convention of States is fully supportive of this legislation. I'd like to leave you with a quote from the author of the bill, House Bill 1384, Representative Cook. He states, "We know that our democracy depends on Hoosiers' civic engagement in every level of government. While high school students typically take a government course their senior year, it is never too soon to start learning about our civic duties. Through this course, our goal is to ensure that students understand the importance of participating in the democratic process." Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Melba. I'd like to add that Melba has done an outstanding job of championing this bill, including an excellent testimony in front of the Senate Education Committee. So thank you for your work on this bill on behalf of Convention of States.
Thank you.
So next up, we want to bring on another member of our legislative team, Marty Wood. And Marty, if you'd tell us about the bill that you're championing.
Sure, thank you, Paul. House Bill 1369 is entitled Firearms Matters. It was sponsored by Representative Ben Smaltz, and it passed through the House in February with roughly a 2-to-1 margin. The bill has been assigned to the Judiciary Committee in the Senate and has gone through a first reading, at which time it picked up a 7th co-sponsor. So we see that as a very positive sign. When it's passed, the bill will take effect in March of next year, March 30th, 2022. The bill repeals the current law that requires a person to obtain a license to carry a handgun in Indiana. The new bill now specifies that certain persons who are not otherwise prohibited from carrying or possessing a handgun are not required to obtain or possess a license or a permit from the state to carry a handgun in Indiana. So we see this as a positive. The bill is supported by COS as action limiting the power and authority of the government and is consistent with Second Amendment rights. The repeal of the current law would also provide consistency with Section 32 of the Indiana Constitution, which states the people have the right to bear arms for the defense of themselves and the state. So all this time that the licensing has been in place, that really has been a problem with our own Constitution. When passed, this bill will be an important win for law-abiding citizens in Indiana. And through support from Convention of States, we hope to spread our message to other states that bills like this are important. Earlier this month, Montana became, I believe, the 17th state to pass a similar bill. And we're hoping to have Indiana become the next state.
All right. Thanks, Marty. So that's kind of a flavor of what's been going on in the legislature this year. And we're very fortunate to have a really strong team where Marty and Melba and David have been doing a great job of championing some self-governance bills. So that's all we've got, John. Thanks for giving us the time to share what's been going on.
Well, Paul, thank you and Melba and Marty for this great report. I want to turn to our producer now and ask if we have any questions or comments from the audience via the YouTube chat box.
John, we don't have anything yet, but I would maybe suggest that maybe Paul could talk about the Indiana General Assembly website that he shows us once in a while that I think is very interesting, and then maybe Melba and Marty could just talk a little bit about the process they went through of testifying.
Okay, that sounds good. Paul?
Sure. So for if you're interested in figuring out what's going on in the legislature, we have an excellent website, the IGA website. The easiest way to find it is just to do your favorite search tool and type in Indiana General Assembly, and that will take you there, rather than me giving you a cryptic URL to try and find it. And we have a wonderful website. It's pretty intuitive. You can't break anything, so just start clicking around and you'll find all kinds of interesting stuff there. Rick, as far as your question regarding the process of testimony, Melba, would you want to talk a little bit about what it took to testify in front of that Senate Education Committee?
Certainly, I'd be happy to. So basically, when you want to testify, you need to register for that particular session, and you will receive a spot, and then you need to show up in front of the Senate chamber. Well, in my case, it was in front of the Senate chamber, so that they know that you're there and ready to testify. You'll be called in, you'll be given 3 minutes to say what you came there to say. And the senators were very attentive and very interested in what everyone had to say and had to share. And then you leave the floor, and I had the opportunity to hear other people speak. And all in all, it was a very welcoming, easy process. And I would encourage everyone, if you want to testify, by all means do so. There's nothing to be scared of. In fact, they really want to hear from you. So,
Melba, if I may ask, how and when did you sign up to testify?
Usually the appearance form, which you can find on the committee website, you'll only be able to fill out that form the morning of the testimony. And then you take it with you, or you sign it there in front of them when you appear to testify.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. Did Marty, do you have anything to say about your testifying experience?
No, because I haven't testified yet. We've had the first reading, and I've been watching the schedule. As Melba said, you have to keep your eyes on the schedule for the committee that the bill's been assigned to. And generally that schedule is posted over the weekend or on Thursday for the following week. They have some dates that go all the way out to the end of the month, and I've noticed a little bit of changing occasionally. But currently my committee, the Judiciary Committee, has not scheduled a session yet to discuss that bill and to accept testimony. So I'm watching for that. I've prepared my testimony, and ready to go when they assign the date, and looking forward to doing the same as Melba did.
Very good. Thanks a lot. Okay,
John,
Paul, is there anything else?
John, let me interrupt here just briefly. I just want to make everyone aware that the Melba's testimony and David's testimony are both on our YouTube channel, COS Indiana. So that is there for anyone and everyone to go and view. So
cool. Thanks, Dale. The state director gets to interrupt the broadcast anytime.
Thank you.
Okay, Paul, anything to wrap up your committee's report?
I would just encourage anybody watching, if there are issues that are important to you that come before the legislature, don't be hesitant to get involved. The legislators really do want to hear from you, and they are just happy to have testimony from, I'll call them everyday citizens, to learn how their work affects everyday Hoosiers.
Okay.
Paul, John, excuse me, I'd like to add too for everybody. This has been my first opportunity to really go through and read these bills and get involved, and it's been a fascinating experience. A part-time executive team, in our legislature has to consider a vast number of bills. How they get through so many bills? I mean, there's literally over 1,000, and then they whittle those down to a few that they're going to handle this session. It's still a large number. And to just read these bills, a lot of times it makes you scratch your head, but it's important that every citizen really reads these bills. My first look at this Firearms Matters bill was a bit like a Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But nonetheless, it's important to understand what parts of it we need to support, how it works, how the process works, and it's a tremendous education. So even just go through there, open the site, go through there, find things of interest, and just sit and read the bills and understand how things work. It's very important.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Marty. I have not testified this year, and of course last year, the year of COVID, I certainly didn't, but in previous years I've gone down to the Capitol and given my testimony. It's always been a very positive experience. So I'm going to turn to Paul one last time. Any comments you want to make to wrap up your committee's report?
I just hope you can see from Melba and Marty's examples that we have an excellent legislative team of volunteers. We're all volunteers here at Convention of States, Indiana.
Very good. Thanks, Paul, and the others, Melba and Marty. Now, before we go to our next segment, we get a word from our sponsor. Convention of States, you may know, you should know, is a nationwide organization. And we have someone from COS National with us tonight. His name is Jonathan Viod, and he is the director of the region that we're in, which is all the states that have passed the resolution calling for the convention. And Jonathan, I'd like to give you a chance to introduce yourself and start off with telling us where you are tonight. I don't think you're in Indiana, are you?
No, I'm not, John. I'm actually in Florida. That's my home state now, but I was originally from New Jersey. And good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Viod, and as John mentioned, I'm the Past States Regional Director. So all 15 states that have passed the COS resolution, I'm in charge of. I'm basically the national liaison, if you will, for COS Indiana and for all of the other past states. So I'm here to serve the team in any way that I can and provide any resources that we can from the national organization. And I love having the opportunity to come on and speak with the Indiana team whenever the opportunity is provided.
Well, thanks, Jonathan, and thanks for coming and joining in our COS Indiana Roundtable. Okay, we're going to go to the next segment of our program now, and I want to introduce you to Richard Locan, who's the regional captain for Indiana's Regions 1 and 2, and he's the chairman of our education committee. So, Richard, you've got the next 20 minutes. Take it away.
All right, thank you. Thank you. My name is Richard Locan. As he said, I'm the state education coordinator and region and district captain here. You can see my email address on the screen, richard_j.locan_ii@conventionofstatesaction.com for those of you that wish to send any educational questions or comments my way. Next screen. All right, some of these items that we have available for teaching people and volunteers and whatnot. We have here, as you see, Convention of States University. Now, the Convention of States, excuse me, at COS University, you go into the home page, you log on, there's courses there for individuals that they can take, and they are free, and they help give you a better understanding of what's going on and how to be an activist standing up for your rights. Next, please. COS Indiana Live. Monday nights, 7 o'clock Eastern on Facebook Live and on YouTube with our host, Dale Parish. Next. We also have a Free to Be Free podcast, which I myself have on Podbean, and it also can be heard on Apple and Google. Next. ConventionStates.com Resource Center. If you go to the ConventionStates.com homepage, you can click on that, and that has several different resources available. It'll show you about Convention of States. It'll show you different programs, different areas of, excuse me. Several different actions, areas of information. You can, geez, Pete. I'm sorry, I almost choked on certs. There's the resource page. You're just gonna have to click on that. It'll be self-centered. Close the next screen, please. I gotta get a drink. And of course, like I said earlier, we have our COS on YouTube where you can access past videos and present videos, and our COS Indiana Live from Monday evenings. Next. Hillsdale courses online. If you go to Hillsdale online and you look up their courses, they're free. Okay. Now there are several different courses that are available. When you go there, you can scroll through. And if you get to the areas where it talks about the college courses, you scroll through, you can see what there is. There's course Constitution 101. And it is available. It is about 12 lessons, averaging about 30 minutes. And you could take it at your own leisure. Next screen. Convention of States Project Wiki. This is a very informative site here. This area, if you actually go to, it's wiki.conventionofstates.com. There's just a whole slew of information there. The table of contents, it covers the Convention of States, the project, new items, complete Article 5 resource tools, Convention of States classrooms. There's a document library of clips, books, ebooks, quotes. There's just a whole bunch of information that's out there for you. Next. And last but not least, we have Patriot Academy, which you can go and you can take constitutional courses, and you can become a constitutional coach if you desire. And myself, Paul, Marty, and Jill are all certified constitutional coaches. Next. Okay. Now, Article 5 in our Constitution, mainly you hear us discuss this a lot. Now, what had happened, I'm not going to go through the whole history of the Constitution, the Convention, everything else, but during its completion, our founders, they realized that there was a slight flaw, that they did not have a way out, a way for the people to protect themselves if the government became tyrannical and too overpowering. And they put in
Richard, you still with us? I think Richard's internet is active.
amendments.
Okay. Richard, we lost you there for about 20 seconds or so.
Well, I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you fine now. May just back up a sentence or two there.
All right. What I'm talking about is the Article 5, the amendment procedures, and how the Congress shall propose amendments to the Constitution. The application of legislatures of 2/3 of the several states shall call a convention for proposing amendments, which in either case shall be valid to all intents and purposes as part of this Constitution when ratified by the legislators of 3/4 of the several states, or by the conventions in 3/4 thereof, as one or the other mode of ratification may be proposed by the Congress, provided that no amendment which may be made prior to the year 1808 shall in any manner affect the first and fourth clauses in the 9th section of the first article, and that no state without its consent shall be deprived of its equal suffrage in the Senate. Now that is a mouthful, but basically what is it saying? It's saying that with everything that's happening and everything that's going on, when the government gets
I had to wait for Richard's internet to come back here, I think.
states take charge and take the power back to we the people, not one party or the other, to we the people. So what are we doing here with Convention of States? We're trying to teach people on the education side. We're trying to get people to learn and understand about the Constitution, what their rights are, so that if you have a better understanding and you know your rights, you'll be more aware of when your rights are being taken advantage of, or walked on, trampled on. You'll be better prepared to stand up and defend your rights. And the further along that we get, it's getting harder and harder for people to rely on their government to do what's necessary. And it's the people that need to stand up. It's the people that are activists, the people that are patriots, that are going to stand up and stand out front and do what's necessary through our Constitution, through Article 5, to rein in this out of control government. So not just to better things for ourselves, but for our children and for our grandchildren, because that's the difference between a politician and a patriot. The politician's worried about the next election cycle. The patriots, we're worried about the next generation. And if we don't understand, we don't educate ourselves with the Constitution and what's going on and everything that's happening around us, that next generation is going to lose out. So we have all these opportunities. We have all this education opportunities. They're free. Everything that I went through briefly, COS University, we have Hillsdale, we have Patriot Academy, we have information in this day and age. It's everywhere. It's out there. We've got to take advantage of it. We've got to educate ourselves. And the only way that we can do all this is to be better better informed, so we're better prepared, and we can be in control.
All right, Richard, you still with us? We lost you again.
We can fix this. And I know in my heart we can. Because if we don't do something, this is all lost.
Okay, thank you, Richard. It's a little hard to tell with the internet cutting in and out on you there, and you have my sympathies, friend. It's a little hard to tell, but it sounded like that was the end of your report, and I want to thank you for that, and you and your whole committee for all that you've been doing in the realm of education. Now, most people in our audience don't know me from Adam, but I'm a retired university professor teaching education courses. And I come from a family that believes in education. My father graduated from high school in 1933, lived in farming country, and he was needed on the farm, but he stayed in high school in the depths of the Great Depression till he got his diploma. And his 4 sons and our cousins, children of his brothers and sisters, were the first generation of Ackermans to go to college. So I'm a big believer in education, and I really appreciate what our COS Indiana Education Committee has been doing. They have a ton of information out there for you, those sites that Richard mentioned. And so we do invite you to take advantage of that and educate yourself. You know, you can do that with these resources on the internet. And now is the time. Now is the time, because most of us, probably all of us in Convention of States, believe that we have seen unprecedented government overreach, both on the state level and the federal level. And if we, the people, don't stand up and take matters into our own hands, it's hard to say, but if we don't, maybe then we'll deserve what we're going to get, you know. Let me go back to our producer, Rick, and ask if we have any comments or questions from our viewing audience on YouTube.
Yes, we do, John. We have 2 questions, as a matter of fact. Richard, I'll throw this at you, and then I know Dale may want to comment on this one as well. But this comes from Lawrence Hartman on YouTube, and he asked, has anyone contacted Hillsdale College about constitutional education?
Yeah, Hillsdale is supportive of Convention of States, and they have a Constitution 101 course that's available as we speak. It's free online.
Yeah, I'd like to chime in on that too. Hillsdale is where I really started my educational process with Convention of States. Actually, I started with the Hillsdale courses prior to joining Convention of States. Now, Hillsdale offers a wide range of courses. Constitution 101 is just one of the courses available. There are a whole host of courses available, not only on the Constitution, but on economics and many other topics that are relevant to today's time. So I think at last count, I think I had taken something like 10 or 12 courses through them, online courses. So the curriculum is vast, quite honestly, and Constitution courses are just one part. So I guess the answer to the question is yes, Hillsdale does offer Constitution courses. Yes.
Dale, if I may, right now the featured courses on Hillsdale, they have Civil Rights in American History, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, Constitution 101, The Meaning and History of the Constitution. And they also have Introduction to Western philosophy, and the Genesis story, the reading, biblical narratives.
Okay. All right. All right. Good. Now, obviously, Hillsdale is not part of our educational program through Convention of States, but or it is not associated with Convention of States. But I think it is one of the resources that we have available to us from an educational standpoint. So, highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Thanks, Richard.
All right, thanks, Richard, and thanks, Dale. And I'll add to that as event coordinator, we've been able to get some nice materials from Hillsdale College as well for our events and stuff. So we thank Hillsdale College for that. So we do have another question here from someone that all of us know off YouTube, Thomas Schultz. And he asked, should a constitutional education start earlier than the 6th grade? And Richard, you want to take that? And I would invite Melba too with her civics interest. Maybe she wants to comment after you.
All right, thank you. Sixth grader, you think of a kid 12, 13 years old, as far as learning about the Constitution and whatnot. I think that their understanding of our United States history and our foundation from the Puritans coming into Plymouth Rock to the colonies expanding and leading up to the Revolutionary War, I think that's something that would interest most kids in that age. And I think they can handle and they can understand what it meant to come out here and take a chance and sacrifice everything to be free. I think that would be great for them at that age to learn.
Yeah, Rick, so I'll tell the folks a little bit about my testimony in the Senate having to do with civics education and the Constitution. So as I stated in my testimony, I'm Cuban, so I was born in Cuba and I lived there several years. And I came to this country, my parents brought me here when I was 8.5 years old. So the question is a child, a young child, can they understand the Constitution? I would say it's a complicated subject and there's a lot there. Even as an adult, there's still things that I can learn about the Constitution that, pieces that you can take apart, articles that you can do more research on. But no, I don't think that it's too early when you're sitting around the dinner table or you're having family conversations. You can teach your children the principles that are in the Constitution, principles of freedom and liberty and your rights, coming from God. I don't think that children, even in grammar school, are too young to learn the foundations of what our government is, what our republic form of government is. Of course, they'll get a more formal education as they go through school, but it shouldn't be left to the schools. We need to make sure that we are teaching the children about our liberties and where they come from and why they're so important and so critical to our freedom.
All right, thanks, Melba. Richard, do you have anything else on that question? We have one more question that just came in.
Well, one more thing I'd like to add, that early on in the educational way back when, the early education days, when children actually were getting educated in the Sunday school classrooms, education for children was love and serve God.
As you can see, we're having internet problems. Richard,
About their country at the same thing.
there he's back. Okay, go ahead, Richard. Richard, we lost you there for a couple seconds. Can you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking about original education of children used to be in the Sunday school classrooms, and it was love and serve God, love and serve your country, love and serve your family. And this is the greatest country on the planet, and not for a child not to be able to learn about their country and its history and its foundation. I can't understand why somebody wouldn't want their teach their children about everything that we've accomplished.
Hey, Rick, I have a resource too that might be of interest to some people. It's called The Child's First Book on American History. It's geared toward children as young as 8 years old. It's directed to 8 to 10, 12-year-old kids. And it's been highly acclaimed. It's available on Amazon. And for anybody that's got grandkids, it's a great gift to give to them.
All right, thanks. All right, we have one more question that came in, but it's kind of a general question, not really related to the Education Committee. Richard, you got anything else? If not, then we'll move on. But
no, I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay. All right, John, I'm not sure who you want to direct this question to, but someone who wanted to remain anonymous on YouTube asked, will a convention of states slow the growth of the federal government? So I don't know whether you want to address that or someone else.
Yeah.
I think we've got time if anybody else wants to chime in on that one. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think any one of us on here can address that. And I believe it would slow the growth and maybe even turn it around, because, our petition calls for 3 kinds of amendments to the Constitution. And one kind that we're looking for is to limit federal overreach. And the other one is to put some fiscal restraints on the federal government. Either one of those, both of those together for sure, are not only going to slow the growth, but I believe it's going to turn it around, and we'll see shrinking of the federal government. Anybody else in the Zoom meeting want to chime in on this one?
I would say what John just said. he is spot on. That's exactly number 2 item of the resolution that Indiana has passed, is to constrain the reach and growth and breadth of the federal government. So that's one of the main items that we're looking at accomplishing with this Convention of States.
Yeah, and I might say if we don't stop that and turn it around, we're headed towards bankruptcy. I mean, look at the trillions of dollars that the country is in debt right now. And it looks like it's just the national debt is just going to continue to grow. This has to stop because we can't sustain it.
Yeah, I would offer to, as much of a focus as we want to maintain with Convention of States, our influence is from the bottom up, local and state. We cannot influence change from the top down. Everybody that's tried to reach anybody in Washington, good luck. But we can all get involved at the local level, from school boards to local elections, and like we're doing at the state level. And we've got a lot on our hands in Indiana at the state level to prepare it for Convention of States. I saw that several years ago when I was involved at the beginning of our effort to get the amendment passed. And now that I'm retired as well and back into this full time, I want to put a lot of effort into what I can affect, and we can all affect it at the bottom. We can't affect it at the top.
Good points. Thanks, Marty. Anybody else? Well, we don't like dead air time, so we're going to move on. I want to thank all of you in the listening audience for tuning in and watching and listening to this. Thanks a lot for checking this out. And if you want to, share this YouTube video with your friends. Put it on social media. It's going to be there, like forever. And here's a personal invitation to you, individual listener sitting there watching this on your phone or whatever, if you have not yet joined Convention of States, please do so right now by visiting this website. And it's a very easy address, conventionofstates.com. Okay. If you know that you're looking for the Convention of States website, just type that in there, conventionofstates.com. And right there, as you can see it, on the front page, you can sign our petition. Okay. We ask you to do that. Now, if you really want to make a difference, big difference, click up in the top menu bar there where it says take action. Okay. And when you get to the next screen, scroll down to the bottom and join our volunteer team, become a leader, and help us make history. Mark your calendar now so you don't miss our next COS Indiana Roundtable, which is going to be July 25th at 7 p.m. I'm John Ackerman for COS Indiana Roundtable.